This is the book of Yoel, chapter 3, verse 10. Hammer the point of your plows into swords, and your pruning knives into spears. Even the weak must fight. I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Almighty Yahweh Yahushai. I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Almighty Yahweh Yahushai. Double honors to the men of GMS who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is Brother Boaz on the set once again. Let the weak say that I'm strong. This subject is going to go into how the weak nations are going to turn on America and they're going to drop missiles on America, okay? That's what this subject is about, okay? And hopefully you're well edified. Now, according to Bible prophecy, okay, all these weak nations are going to gather nuclear technology and use it upon America, okay? That's the which the Bible calls that the day of the Lord, okay? When these insignificant nations like Pakistan, okay, they even their own brothers are going to turn against them. France, Germany's, the British, they're going to turn on America, and they're going to shoot missiles on this place. That's what this lesson is going to go into today. Okay, the book of Yoel, chapter 3, verse 9. Make this announcement among the nation: prepare for war. Call your warriors and gather your soldiers. Verse 11. Hurry and come, all you surrounding nations, and gather in the valley. Okay, the valley is the valley of Jehoshaphat, or the Bible calls it Armageddon. Okay, that's the war to end all wars, okay, in the Hebrew tongue. The Bible calls that Armageddon, okay. That's when the so-called white man will meet his doom, okay, in a valley of judgment. Let's get it. The book of Yoel, chapter 3, verse 12. The nations must get ready to and come to the valley of judgment. There I, Yahweh, will sit to judge all the nations, all the surrounding nations. So all the surrounding nations, that's where Yahweh Shai is going to judge them at, okay? He's going to be over there, okay, judging the nations, okay? America can't win this war, okay? Because Yahweh Shai is not with them, okay? Yahweh Shai is the one that set this America up, and Yahweh Shai is going to be the one that take them down. Let's turn to the book of Psalms. The book of Psalms, chapter 175, verse 7. It is Yahweh who is the judge, condemned in some and acquits in others. Okay, so Yahweh Shai is the one that sets up one and he takes out the others. Okay, it is Yahweh. Okay, I mean, Yahweh Shai gave America a brief time to rule and to rule the nations. Okay, and now they're going down. Okay, and you have to have this doctrine, okay, and the names, okay, if you want to make it out with your life, like we discuss on many occasions, okay. That's what this is about. Let's get it. The Bible calls it in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Let's Book of Revelations. The book of Revelations, chapter 16, verse 16. Then the Spirit brought the kings together in a place that in the Hebrew is called Armageddon. Okay, that's the battle which that's the battle where America is gonna go and be destroyed. Okay, and get annihilated. Okay, in World War III. Okay. The book of Revelations, chapter 16, we'll read from verse 13. Then I saw three unclean spirits that looked like frogs, the Pope, America, and the EU. They were coming out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast, the mouth of the false prophet, the Pope. They were spirits, demons that perform miracles. These three spirits go out all over the kings of the world to bring them together for the battle on the day of Almighty Yahweh. Okay, so America is going to get drug into this war. Okay, and that's where they're going to be destroyed. Okay, they're gonna be destroyed. Okay. That's what this is about, okay? The battle of Armageddon, okay? Okay, one moment. They dry up the Euphrates rivers for the kings of the east, Book of Revelations. The Book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 12. Then the sixth angel poured out his bowls on the great river Euphrates river. The river dried up to provide a way for the kings who come from the east. Okay, China and Russia. Okay, and the Euphrates river is already dried up. Okay, so this prophecy is spot on. Okay, this is where America will meet its doom. Okay, this is where America will get missile shot on it. Okay, this is where it's going to happen. Okay, World War III is where America gets annihilated. That's what John is saying. That's what all the prophets seen. Okay, America getting annihilated. The book of Daniel. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 11. While I was looking, I could still hear the little horn bragging and boasting. As I watched, the fourth beast was killed and its body was thrown into the flames and destroyed. Okay, so America was destroyed with thermonuclear destruction. Okay, America was destroyed. That's what it's saying, okay? And the so-called white man boasting about evolution, okay? The atheism, okay? Saying there is not a God, okay? Boasting, okay? He wants to sit in the temple showing himself that he is God, okay? That's talking about the so-called white man. Verse 12. The other beasts had their power taken away, but they were permitted to go on living for a limited of time. Okay, so they will go on living for a limited amount of time. Okay, that's talking about the so-called white man going into slavery, and for 1,000 years, then he's going to get eradicated. Okay, from the earth. Okay, that's what this prophecy is going into. Then the saints will take the kingdom. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 18. And the people of the supreme power will receive royal power and keep it forever and ever. Okay, so that's the elect receiving the kingdom, and they're going to keep the kingdom forever and ever. Okay, and the nuclear weapons, that's what it says. The They say it looks like the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them is a desolate wasteland. Okay, that's talking about the nuclear weapons being shot off from all the other kingdoms. Okay, being dropped on America. Okay, that's what the Bible is saying. Okay, that's what the Bible is saying. America's going to get destroyed with nuclear technology, and it will not be nothing here left after that. Okay, that's what the Bible is conveying. The Bible is just saying the same thing over and over again. Okay, in different prophecies and passages. Okay, in different scripture points. Okay, that America's going to be destroyed. Okay, that's what the prophecies are. Okay, America's going to be destroyed. The book of Joel, chapter 2, verse, let's go into the verse 2. It will be a dark and gloomy day, a black and cloudy day. The great army of locusts advances, the nuclear weapons, like darkness spreading over the mountains. There has never been anything like it, and there will never be any will be again. Okay, it will never be another nuclear day like this again. Okay, where nuclear weapons will get shot off from all these other nations, okay, to annihilate the other nations. Okay, it's never going to be another day like it. This thing is going down. The book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 3. Like fire, they eat up the plant in front of them. The land is like the Garden of Eden. The land looks like the Garden of Eden. Everything's intact. Okay, everything is intact. But behind them is a barren desert. Nothing escapes them, so nothing is going to escape them. Okay, when those nuclear weapons get shot off from Russia, China, in America, nothing is going to escape them. Okay, they're going to eradicate this place. Okay, Nothing is going to escape them. Then that's when the nations will be getting, once again, put into slavery. Okay, that's when the other nations will get put straight into slavery. The book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 14. Yahweh says to Israel, the wealth of the Egyptians and the Ethiopians will be yours, and the tall men of the Sabaeans will be your slaves. They will follow you in chains. They will bow down to you and confess, Yahweh is with you. He alone is power. Okay, they will confess that He alone is power. Okay, they're going to confess it. Okay, that's when all the other nations are going to get put straight into slavery. This thing is going down. Okay, the so-called white man is going to fall out of rulership, like you heard me say this on numerous occasions on the day of the Lord. Okay, the so-called white man falls out of power. Okay, when this happens. The book of Second Ezra. The book of Second Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. And he answered then and said unto me, Thou then he answered then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest partly of the signs pass, which I told thee before, so you're seeing the time pass now. Okay, America is over in the Middle East. Okay, that's a major clue which is going to happen. Okay, you're seeing it happen right now. Okay, that's why America does not want certain nations to get nuclear technology, such as Iran, because they're going to drop missiles on America. Okay, they're going to drop missiles on this place. Then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Okay, when you see this, okay, this is the very same time where Yahweh will visit the earth that he have made. Okay, and when you see Yahweh Shai, okay, coming on a big spacecraft, okay, men's hearts will fill them with fear. Okay, you're gonna be fear, okay, and trembling. Okay, you're gonna be shocked. You're gonna, when you see that day come, urinate on yourself. Why don't you? Okay, that's why the scripture say you're gonna urinate on yourself. Your knees are gonna be shaking. Okay, when you see Yahweh Shai finally get here, it's not a game. Okay, it's not a game. This thing is going down. And if you want to make it out with your life when this thing goes down, you have to serve Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, okay? That's how you're going to make it out of here with your life when this thing goes down. That's how you're going to make it. The book of Second Ezra, chapter 9, verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Okay, the end is manifest. So Yahweh Shai has already given us clues. When you see these things come to pass, the end is manifested. Okay, the end is here. Okay, the end of America is here. Okay, it's gonna be. It's gonna be complete destruction. Okay, when this thing finally comes to pass. Okay, America end is near. Okay, Even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonderful, powerful works and ending and effects and signs. Okay, so when you see the signs, okay, that's how you know when this thing is going to be destroyed. Okay, when this thing gets here, that's how you know. The book of Second Ezra, chapter 9, verse 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, hereby ye have believed. Okay, so you have to have the faith and action. Okay, so you could have a chance of a crack out of here. Okay, a way ticket out of here. Okay, and if you don't get beamed up on some flying saucers on some UFOs, you won't make it out with your life, okay? Because you're going to get annihilated with this place when this thing goes down. You're going to get annihilated, okay, when this thing finally goes down. The book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 16. I create the blacksmith, okay, the scientist, okay, that makes these nuclear weapons, who builds a fire and forges a weapon, okay. So basically, he's the one that built these nuclear weapons. It's Yahweh Shai, okay, Yahweh. He's the one that built these nuclear weapons, okay, and all things is ready, okay. What's that mean? See, those nuclear weapons are already pointed at every city here in America, okay? Every major city that's here in America, who build a fire and forges a weapon. I create the soldier who uses a weapon to kill, okay? So Yahweh have these missiles, are, like the bar says, they're not used to use, they're not going to be put in museums. They will be used and detonated, okay? Okay, Satan too, okay? um, you got these hypersonic missiles, okay, that Russia just came out with, okay, they can't be detected, okay. This thing is going down, okay. The Bible calls it the day of the Lord, okay, when these so-called white people fall out of rulership and power, okay. Okay, then Yahweh Shai sets him up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed. That's what the Bible is conveying. That's what the messages of the scriptures are saying, okay. Okay, and only a small survivors is going to make it out with their life when this thing goes down. The book of Jeremiah. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 7. Yahweh says, sing with joy for Israel, the greatest of the nations. Sing with your praise. Yahweh has saved his people. He have rescued all those who are left. Okay, it's once again, like we discussed on numerous occasions, it's not going to be a lot of people left over. Okay, it's not going to be a lot of people to make it out with their life when this thing goes down. It's only for the few elect people to make it out with their life that Yahweh sanctioned before the world was, okay? And Lord willing, I'm one of those members. I'm one of those elect men that's going to make it out of here with their life. Lord willing, I pray that I'm one of those men to make it out with my life. I will bring them for the north and gather them from the ends of the earth. The blind and the lame will come with them, pregnant women and those who are about to give birth. They will come back a great nation. Okay, so Yahweh is going to gather the number of people, okay, starting with the 144,000 that are sanctioned out of here to make it out with their life, okay. It starts with the governing body, okay. The Bible calls them the 144,000, okay. 12,000 from each nation, okay, of each tribe, I will say, Salaki, of each tribe, okay, to be sanctioned to make it out with their life when this thing goes down. The book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 12. But I will gather you together, all the people of Israel that are left. I will bring you together like sheep returning to the fold, like a pasture full of sheep. Your land will once again be filled with many people. Okay, so Yahweh wants all these transactions go through, okay, and America's destroyed, annihilated. Yahweh Shah is going to beam up the elect, okay, and take them to Jerusalem eventually, okay. Jerusalem is going to have to get rebuilt because Jerusalem is going to be destroyed over there, okay. They got nuclear weapons is going to hit them too, okay. It's going to hit Israel too, okay? It's basically the day of the Lord is a nuclear holocaust. That's what the Bible is saying. Let's turn to the book of 2 Peter. 2 Peter, let's start at verse 9. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. Yahweh is not slow to do what he has promised, as some think. Instead, he is patient with you because he does not want anyone to be destroyed, but will want all to turn away from their sins. Okay, so Yahweh wants his people to turn away from their sins, but Yahweh is not going to wait. Okay, 2/3 are not waking up. They're not going to wake up, so they're going to get eradicated when this thing goes down. Okay, the Yahweh Shah's not going to keep waiting for these 2/3 to wake up, okay, in this setup, okay. They should wake up. They had a chance to wake up, and if they don't wake up, they're going to get eradicated, okay, which is already prophesied. 2/3 ain't going to make it out with their life anyway, okay. They're going to be destroyed. Verse 10, but the day of Yahweh will come like a thief. On that day, the heavens will disappear with a shrill noise, a horrific noise. The heavenly bodies will be burnt up and destroyed, and the earth will and everything in it will vanish. Okay, so it's gonna be like everything is vanished in that day. Okay. Then the scripture said that many kings are going to shiver with fear on that day, okay, seeing what has happened to America. Okay. It's talking about this setup, and this setup, a country is going to be destroyed. The book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah chapter 10 verse 20. The time is coming when the people of Israel who have survived will not rely anymore on the nations that almost destroyed them, okay? The so-called white man. They will truly put their trust into Yahweh, Israel's holy power. A few of the people of Israel will come back to their mighty power, even though now there are as many as people of Israel are as a grain of sand by the sea. Only a few will come back. Destruction is in store, and it is fully deserved. Yes, throughout the whole country, the sovereign Yahweh Almighty will bring destruction as he said he would. Okay, so he's going to bring the destruction as he said he would. So hopefully you was edified by this lesson. I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Almighty Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, Shalom.